Um, Dopamine. It's huge. We hear about how we get it from Facebook. We get it from our cell phones. We're addicted to this because of the dopamine rush. We've heard it all, right? At least I have. What I identified this week is that the dopamine rush is just as strong, if not stronger, during times of anger, especially anger for me, um, but negative emotions as well. So to me, that's interesting. So how do we figure out where the balance is? If this is a good thing that we need for sleep and many things, and we need to control where we get it so that we get enough so that we're not getting it from bad places. See, and I don't, it's just a balance. So we're not getting too much from any one place. The sun gives you dopamine. Okay, so if the sun gives you dopamine, does that mean you stay out in the sun until it sunburns you? No, too much is too much. So Facebook is a dopamine fix. Um, Probably in a bunch of different ways. Facebook for me is a positive dopamine fix simply because that's what I react to. That's the way I built my Facebook. Very rarely see much, if anything, negative. There's some, and you just ignore it. Amazing thing about Facebook is you ignore it and it goes away. I know that's big, but it's true. Really, if you'll just ignore them, they'll go away. Why give your power away? That one's something that I've been trying to teach my kids for a long time. About 10 years. Never give your power away. You're on the bus, the guy calls you a name. Don't react to it. Why? What does what he says have any effect on you? The other one is when they blame each other. It's Rachel's fault. No, Rachel doesn't make you do anything. Nothing she does makes you do what you do. You are completely accountable for your actions, your reactions. How quickly have you trained your brain to know? To know when you're happy, to know when you're angry, to feel that emotion, embrace that emotion, and change it into the one that you want. Like, for example, uh, I went to get an article of clothing and it was stuck to another one because of Velcro and it wouldn't come loose and it just all of a sudden I just mad. And I went, wow, that really made you mad. And then I brought myself back down and I pulled the thing off and I was like, wow, that's how that happens. That's how that happens every day. A person gets angry, they don't see, and I don't know if that people don't. I'm not anybody else. Biggest lesson that I've learned this year. I am not anybody else. I What does that mean? Nobody thinks like I do. Just because I think it should be this way or I see the world as this huge, wonderful, connected place, just because I can recognize when I feel a certain way, just because I've taken the time to do the self-growth so that when I get angry, I can embrace it and dance with it. Anger for me is chocolate milk. That's how I figured it out. I spilled a bunch of chocolate milk one day, like an entire gallon spilled out. I had just gone to the store. I'd gotten 2 gallons of chocolate milk because it was on sale. I honestly didn't need both gallons, but it was on sale that way, so I went ahead and got it. And I dropped it, and it went all over my kitchen floor. And I was so mad, so mad. And my husband comes in, and he goes to try to help me, and I'm like, no, please, just leave. Let me handle this. At that point, I could tell I was going to take my anger out on him. It's so easy to misplace your anger. Okay, so maybe that's why chocolate milk's so important. Because it was just chocolate milk. $3 at the grocery store. Big deal. Had I not been present in that moment and realized that I was mad at chocolate milk, I could have easily allowed my husband to step in and me to use him as my outlet for my anger. Anything he had done at that point was not going to make it better. It was chocolate milk. It wasn't him. So he went to the other room and I cleaned up the chocolate milk and we've talked about it. Now, since that moment, that's what anger is to me. Most of the time, anger is chocolate milk. It's something simple. It literally is two pieces of clothing that are stuck together and it just doesn't, it's expectations. Our expectations are what sets us up for anger. Right now, a lot of things are coming back to expectations. We put unjust expectations on ourselves, put unjust expectations on the world around us. And then, like everything, there's a completely other side, and I don't think we expect enough. We don't expect enough of ourselves. We don't expect enough of society. I especially don't expect enough of government. They should do so much more than they do. The price that is paid for those people and it's just my opinion. See, here we go down a rabbit trail. And it's so easy and you can feel it. When you start to catch yourself with your emotions and really feel them, you can feel it and it doesn't take long to stop. Because these aren't things that you have any control of. I have no control over the government in my country. I really don't. I have control over who I vote for. If you followed the last election in America, you're probably smart enough to know the average voter may or may not count at all. There's this electoral college, and so why do I even go vote if somebody else makes that decision for me? I remember that we learned about the electoral college in like, I don't know, probably eighth grade, because that was civics. In eighth grade, and I remember at that point in my life going, well, why does it matter if people vote if these people decided anyway? I never could put that together, and this last year made me know how smart I was. I'm 13 years old, and I was like, wow, this can't be right. How many times does that happen to you? How many times do you reflect on something and you realize, wow, maybe I should have said something? That particular one is a silly example to an extent. I don't know what I would have done to change the voting process. Maybe I could have mentioned it to somebody and that would have made a ripple effect. Maybe I could have taken it up as a cause. At 13, I was busy playing soccer, busy chasing boys. For real. And it certainly didn't seem like it was possible. Is that where we deny ourselves some of the opportunities, some of the beauty? We limit what's possible. So again, it's back to expectations. Are our expectations everything? And the secret is we're supposed to expect tremendous things from ourselves. Expect what we need from the other relationships in our life and accept nothing less. Because those things the only thing we have power over is ourselves. So I don't accept anything less than the best for myself. Those expectations at that point, for some people, have to be tempered. They have to be realistic. You will set yourself up for failure. You will, that one's dangerous. Now be careful. Be honest. If it takes months to figure out exactly who you are and that you like yourself and that God, there's so much to this stuff. Whew. So back to expectations. You have to set high expectations for yourself. However, those expectations do have to be realistic. If we set our expectations too high, we set ourselves up for failure. And that creates its own block, its own lack, its own. Grant Cardone was talking today about when you walk into the grocery store and you look at the meat that you want to buy, and oh, and it's more than you can pay. Well, there's lack, so you need to have plenty. How do you get plenty? Well, it's different for everybody. We've all got different definitions of plenty. We've all got different expectations. Interesting word. I don't even know the post and the memes that I see that uh, say never have any expectations and you'll always be happy. And they frustrate me because you have to have expectations. They just have to be realistic. So if that's the case and that's where we're going with this, then do my expectations only get to be posed on myself? Because I have expectations of the weather at times. Sometimes I get rewarded, sometimes I get disappointed. I have expectations on the food that I fix for dinner. There's expectations. I don't know. We'll have to continue on that one later. There's a balance. Hmm. So I've been rambling for 12 minutes now. Congratulations, Tammy. What I learned this week is I can ramble by myself, talking to myself. No, I'm talking to you, but I can record myself for 12 minutes with no one else to talk to and just let my mind flow and let it go back and forth. And then I will have documented and captured, hopefully, some wisdom. I don't have to have it all figured out. I just have to have it figured out for myself. And then share the tools with everybody else that allowed me to get here. And the truth is, I've been training my brain to be as positive as possible since I was little. My sister and I used humor to get through a lot in childhood. My childhood wasn't horrible, but it wasn't great. So, um, I had to qualify that because you go back and forth, and I believe there's a lot of us that go through quite a bit as a child. I just know that mine's not nearly as bad as some of the other stories that I've heard. Did it affect me? Yeah. Were there some major messed up things that happened? Yeah. Did I make it through it? Sure. Um, and like I said, my sister and I start too much younger, and we just figured out how to make ourselves laugh, and we laughed through a lot. I still use that as a defense mechanism today, and it's like the best medicine. Laugh, make yourself laugh, laugh at yourself. Maybe that's one of the things that I'm able to do because I can crack myself up tripping over something in the floor. It's a choice that I make, and now that I'm saying that, because I was talking about how you get angry because something doesn't do what you expect it to do, the way that you expect it. And there are times that I can make myself laugh. I don't ever have to even get into the anger emotion. I can just, uh, yeah, the anger comes to the surface. I immediately recognize it and go with laughter because it's a choice. That's a great tool. That one's important. There's so many things that you can do, but to focus on the positive, figure out a way to make your mind do that. There's a bunch of different ways. Just wake up in the morning and say you're going to change 3 people's lives. Well, 3 people's lives can honestly some days include the 3 people inside your home or someone on Facebook. There's a million different ways to do it. Open the door for someone. That it's easy. We make things hard. Most things that really matter are simple. You just got to boil it down so you can get to what's the important part. Wow. See ya.